Welcome back. You're live on Xpressive. There are levels to it, you know. There are levels to everything.
Yeah.
Even in the events game, there are levels to it. So today we brought one of our favorites and a customized sneaker as well. There are levels to life.
No, there are levels.
Whilst I love sneakers, people are able to customize their own sneakers, which is really lovely. Please welcome event planner extraordinaire, one of the best in the entire country. Please welcome CEO of Think Mahogany, Debra-Jane Nelson. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see you.
Again.
See you again.
I feel like we are the only people you actually speak to, you know. I don't see you anymore.
Oh, I love you, that's why. For my people.
You're busy. You're always busy traveling, doing something. So it's an honor to always have you.
Yeah.
Try, but I give God all glory for the opportunities that He has given me. I don't take it for granted.
At all.
Have you been, though? Have you been? I've been seeing your post. You've been traveling a lot. 𝐿𝐻𝐾𝐂𝐈𝐒𝐄,
Superstar traveler.
your events, and all of it. So how has it been?
It's been a good experience. Like I said, it just didn't happen. I never even thought I would be in events to start with. Oh yes, I never thought. If you ask me today, what is my business plan? I don't even have one. I never had intentions of becoming an event professional.
Oh wow.
I always thought I'll be doing a 9-to-5 in a world-renowned organization and in a position of building capacity, human capacity, working with the vulnerable, you know, working for companies like the UN.
Right.
That's where my passion always was. But here I am today, and I think I have come to accept that God wanted me to do events, to put me in touch with the people that the network I have built. I think I'm living my purpose.
But how did you get into it, since you're saying that this is not what you wanted to do? I wanted to do something completely different, but here you are.
Here I am. How did I get into it? Well, I moved back to Ghana 14 years ago from the UK.
Right.
And I couldn't find the ideal job. When I say the ideal job, it was difficult for me because with a Western culture, a bit of Western culture, Western education, I wasn't fitting in terms of people would find me being upfront or vocal or objective.
That's interesting.
Maybe too no.
Yeah.
Even up to now, some people find that I project too much, where us in the Western world it would have been embraced.
Absolutely.
You know, even the education, when I was in Ghana, how we learned, when I moved, so I was in St. Rose's, then I moved to St. Paul's Catholic School in Milton Keynes. And it was like a vast difference. We learned practically, we weren't lectured. So you are kind of forced to contribute in class. You are forced to do presentations. You're forced to talk. You know, your views were important. Then I come here, and even in the workspace, when you're asked to do something and you ask questions or you object to something, it's like, hey, this girl, she's some way. You know, so it wasn't allowing me to grow, I think. It wasn't allowing me to grow. I felt stagnant. It wasn't pushing me to explore everything that I thought I was capable of delivering. So in my job search, I just thought, you know what, maybe I need to create something for myself. Obviously, I prayed about it. I didn't just get up and do it. I prayed about it, and I thought, maybe it's time to create something for myself. And I'm glad I moved with that shift because it has now put me in a realm of influence where I've been able to impact many lives.
That's interesting. It's the comparisons you make about education and the fact that you couldn't fit in a lot. That raises very interesting, you know, that's interesting thoughts this morning about how we're educated here versus your experience outside of St. Rose's in Milton Keynes. But when you came down, did you immediately think that I just couldn't fit in immediately, or it took you a while?
You know, my first job, one day I cried at work. That's when I knew, no, there's something not right here. When I came, I worked a 9-to-5 for a company for 6 months. I remember that flight. It was 9th of May, 2009. When I came to Ghana. And in June, I started working. I resigned in December.
Okay.
I was like, I'm done.
You didn't wait for 13th month.
No, I'm done. So I resigned in December. I was actually going to go back to UK that January 2010. But something in my spirit said, no, try again. And here we are, almost 14 years later, still trying.
So you tried again with an event or with
So
somebody's birthday party? What was it?
So when I was working where I was doing a lot of events for them.
Right.
So I think it's just transferable skills that I had. I was doing a lot of events, marketing for them, and all of that. Mind you, my first degree was in IT.
IT?
Oh.
Yes, my first degree was in business IT, and then I did an MBA in international business.
Right.
So nothing event related.
Like.
But then because I guess I was exposed, I was open-minded, I was ready to explore. So when they put me in that position, I think I did pretty well. And so when I decided to come back in January, a friend of mine said somebody wanted someone to help them with an event. So she recommended me. And the guy tried me. I helped him. And even before I was able to even do his event, he recommended me to his Nigerian clients. And that was the African Movie Academy Awards nominees night that the Nigerians held here at Men's Vic Hotel on the 6th March 2010. Mind you, I remember everything. I remember all
Which is good.
All
All
my
the
weddings.
dates, yeah.
I can tell you what you were wearing. Yeah, I have a good memory like
Okay.
that. So that was my first event, and I posted it on Facebook at the time. Power of social media, and people say, "Oh, you do events now. You do events now," and I'm like, "Oh yeah," and it's grown.
For me, the first time I heard of you and saw you was on Instagram. When I got on Instagram, the first people, you were part of the first people I followed. Because I was like, who is this? And what is this that she's doing? Because the events looked different and it looked like something I had not seen before in this part of our world. Because, you know, we were coming from a place where once it's a wedding, your mother and your sisters would just hide some chairs and organize it for.
Together.
Exactly. And then we got to,
Put in a
wow,
pot.
what is this? Is this a wedding? Is it for the president? Who is it for? That's where I saw you. But ever since then, you've remained relevant till date, especially on social media as well. I mean, how are you doing it? Did you learn on the job? I mean, give us some tips.
Okay. How am I doing it? Did I learn on the job? Like I said to you, I never thought I would be doing events. And here I am today teaching people how to do events. So I think I've just been very obedient to my calling, I would say. I'm self-taught. Everything I do, I'm self-taught. How do I always tell people, never undermine the power of social media. I think social media has given me the most exposure. Most of my jobs comes from personal referrals because obviously the client is happy. And social media. You found me on social media.
I did.
People find my relevance because of my existence of social media. I've done speaking engagements on different continents. So, and funny enough, every time I am put on a stage to talk, people always refer me to social media. They're like, your social media is powerful. This and mind you, now I don't even post as much
as you used to.
I used to post, you know. And I have made up my mind that I'm going to post more this year. This year, I'm gonna post more. I'm gonna claim my title back. But yeah, I think digital presence is the way to go.
How important is it to, you know, your line of business?
Everybody is on the internet now. Everybody, almost everyone that can afford your service has a smartphone. So why don't you capitalize on that? For me, it also teaches me a lot because I see other people doing other things. So it's more than important in my line of business.
Why think mahogany?
The name Think Mahogany. Psalm 1 verse 3. I wanted to name my company after a tree because if I put myself in that, she's like a tree planted by water. And to cut it short, whatever she does prospers.
Yeah.
I want to prosper in everything that I do. So I wanted to name my company after a tree because of that Bible verse. And I mean, I wasn't going to name my company Odum Events,
Wawa
Events, or Ebony,
Sapele.
Sapele. So yeah.
Plywood events.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
I love the name.
Think
actually.
mahogany.
Think
Yeah, it
mahogany.
actually really works.
There's
It's
something
when
special
when
about
it's
it.
much uniqueness.
When you think of an events company, think mahogany.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's a interesting way you name
Think
your company.
mahogany.
Think mahogany. Let's talk about some of the biggest events you've ever done. Because of course, there's a lot of curiosity as to, what you might have done that we haven't even seen on the internet. Tell me about some of these events where you're not even allowed to put on the internet, but they've been like massive budget events.
I think the biggest event, personally, the biggest budget event that I have worked on, where I was not allowed to post. Mind you, I've done a lot of events where we haven't posted. Was actually out of Ghana. It was a destination wedding.
Wow.
And I stood back and I said, wow, I did this.
Was the budget scary?
It was a good budget. But logistics, you think you're making money, you think you're in a lucrative business, but by the time you take off vendor payments, the logistics around it, often than not, you're left with so little or nothing. But I always am satisfied when I know that I was able to deliver above expectation and standard. And I think for me, it opens many more doors. I always say to my students or anyone that I work with that, every event that you do is an opportunity for you to advertise to the guests, to the vendors, because vendors also make or break you. Because, for instance, if you're a wedding MC and somebody came to you, they've not booked a planner yet, and they wanted to book you first because they like your relationship. And then you ask them, oh, so who is your planner? And they say to you, I don't have one yet. Can you recommend somebody? That vendor can easily say, oh, use Think Mahogany or use this person.
Yes.
And then when you say, oh, but I wanted to really use Think Mahogany, then they can say, oh, please, that woman,
this, she's that.
So there and then, you are losing business.
Absolutely.
So it's very, very, very important that you maintain good relationships with the people that help you to put it all together. But yeah, so every event for me is an opportunity to advertise. So even after every event, I would go back and say thank you to the vendors for helping me to do the event the way it came out.
What do you think sets you apart from, other event organizers, especially other wedding planners? Because personally, if I see your work anywhere, even if you don't post it, this wedding is Think Mahogany. I don't know how, but then I would eventually go through the vendors list. I find out that it's actually Think Mahogany. What do you think is that thing that is part of your craft that sets you aside from other people, that people like me can easily tell that, nah, this work has to be Think Mahogany? Let
me tell a secret today. So now this is me telling the world my secret.
Yeah.
When I'm doing events, I'm not so into the aesthetics of the event. And because I'm a wedding coordinator as well as a designer, there are certain things I wouldn't even do. For instance, I won't overload a table because halfway through the event, when I'm coordinating, the old ladies will be calling me, can you take this off? I can't see. I need space for my handbag, this and that. So I look at all these things before designing the event. Whereas somebody who is just design-oriented, who puts everything because they're trying to sell their craft.
That's true.
You see, but I am looking at it like practically. Yeah. So I think I'm a practical event designer. And also one very important thing to me, I want people to walk into the space and feel like they're in a different atmosphere, not necessarily because of the decor or the food, but there should be some vibe in there that you walk in there and you feel, I'm in a good place. Yeah. For me, that is very important. I want you to walk into my event and feel nice, feel at home, feel happy. Don't come there and feel a bad vibe. All that is not important to me. I want you to walk out of my event and be like, I enjoyed that. That was nice. So for me, those are the elements I focus on, giving that the right atmosphere. So
that's right, interesting, because you can sit to some tables and you can't even see,
You have to now shift
big installations in front of you. You're literally struggling.
You know what I hate? People posing. It's like people are sitting there so stiff.
Yeah, because the whole
thing is intimidating. The dance floor is intimidating. Before you can dance, you have to kind of do this to move the ceiling hangings out of your way. Why?
It gets a little too much.
You know, you should be in an environment where you're just happy to be there. You're having fun. You know, let your head down. It's a good vibe. It's a positive, good vibe.
It's a good vibe.
I don't want people at my event just posing with drinks and cocktails and. No. That's not.
You want the vibe.
I want the vibe. It has to be a good vibe.
The vibe's important.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like in every industry, there's a high-level competition to an extent, some level of jealousy and enmity. Do you see these things in your line of work?
Every day.
Every day?
Oh, every day, of course. Competition never dies, you know, and I even tell the people that I train that become so good that you would intimidate the people who trained you. And that's some of my people that I have trained are doing great stuff. You know, I look at their work, I'm like, wow. And it makes me happy, you know. But it's not everybody that has that kind of mindset. So just that, be as good as the people you looked up to, or even better than the people you looked up to. But of course, that's going to generate a lot of envy. Me, for instance, some people don't even know me, but they have a perception of me, and they don't like me. And it's fine. I don't need everybody to like me. As long as I'm doing my work, I'm doing it well, I'm recognized for what I'm doing. I'm not in a circus. I'm not supposed to be, you know, clowning at everybody. But I'll give you the respect that you deserve as long as you deliver to the standard that I'm expecting you to deliver. And that's one of the things that I'm always fighting. Mediocre delivery, you know, substandard, basic. You know, when I'm paying for a service, I expect you to go above and beyond, because you doing that will also help me to deliver above and beyond. And for instance, like the artisans in this country, they are talented. They can do great work, but the finishing is always an issue. It's like, okay, it's crooked, but use it like that. I'm like, no, I know it's on 4 legs, it's standing, but I don't need it crooked. That little detail. Let me give you a scenario. But we've come a long way. Like about 10 years ago, I did an event where my team forgot the napkins. So I said, go back and bring their napkins. They come back with napkins in a different color to the. So I'm like, I asked for lilac napkins. He brought me yellow. So I said, why? For them, napkin is napkin. Does it really matter what color it is?
Major issue here. Major issue.
You understand? It's like, you want a napkin, I've given you a napkin. Why can't you just use it? Why are you being so cynical? Why does it have to be lilac? And I'm thinking, hold on, before we even got here, I went through a whole design process that had to be approved. You know, the bride is not going to walk in expecting yellow. Go back again. You see, but that mindset, gradually, that has changed. Now they know that when I want yellow, I want yellow. When I want lilac, I want lilac. So, but it's still there, especially with the artisans. It's like, finishing is not a big deal, but that is the selling point. Events are not a necessity. So you need to create the appeal for people to buy into it. That is where the magic is. The mahogany magic is, you know, you don't really need to be having an event. But I'm going to make you want to have an event. And that's what keeps us in business.
That's very interesting, profound thoughts you have there. But what are some of the things you've heard about your own self and your own company? In a negative light, some people just don't like you.
Okay, so somebody would have never even called us to find out how much we charge.
Because they've heard that,
expensive.
Mahogany dear.
You see, they've not even, so for instance, oh, I want you to take my, hey, can you pay? They're expensive. Who told you that? Maybe Ajwa told me that. So Ajwa, have you even inquired before? No. Have you used our services before? No. So why do you conclude that I'm expensive?
You look expensive.
I look expensive, or my brand. People don't, it's mediocre, basic thinking. How I brand myself is because I want to be appealing to a global audience. But because they're so basic and mediocre, they want phone pictures, they want crooked, you know, and iron tablecloth pictures. that would make them think they can afford me. No.
You don't do that.
No,
you don't do the basic.
You're not doing basic over here.
You are a perfectionist.
Exactly. We're moving from basic.
But
It was I'm not basic.
Deborah, I really want to know this. I mean, I know a lot of colleagues that say, listen, this 9 to 5 is not working for me. I'm getting into events. Even if I don't have my things, I'll start from somewhere. Because everybody's thinking, let's do something. Is this actually, this event industry, is it lucrative? You know, doing your own thing, like being a planner, coordinator, and all of it.
Designer.
Is it lucrative?
It depends on what you want to achieve, right?
Okay.
If you think small, you achieve small. If you think big, you achieve big. It's really up to the individual. What's your target? What's your objective? What are you doing it for? Are you doing it to be able to look after your kids, to build a life out of it? Or is it for the moment? To be able to just buy a nice Zara bag or something, you know? So really, what is your plan? It all boils down to your plan. If you have big dreams, know that you're not going to make money anytime soon because you're going to be investing every money that you make right back into it because you have a long-term goal. But if you don't have a long-term goal, it's something you want to do in the interim, every time you make money, you're going to spend it on yourself. And it will soon die. And that is what happens. A lot of people don't go beyond 3 years because they realize that, no, this thing is not as lucrative
as we thought.
As you think, because everything is so much more expensive to produce now. Transportation is more expensive. And the client is not really ready to pay more. Even though they know that the electricity bill now is more than what it was last week. So even the workers need to be paid more. So producing an event has become more expensive, you know, but people are not trying to pay more. So how are you going to make money?
As a trainer, you train other people. How do you stay ahead of the game?
Relevance. You stay relevant. You invest in your craft. You position yourself to the target audience that need you. And I always say this, anybody who wants to use Think Mahogany will use Think Mahogany.
Absolutely.
Because they've made up their mind they want to use Think Mahogany. And if more people think like that, you know, you have to be powerful in your thoughts. If you are confident in knowing that whoever wants to use me will use me, then you're not too bothered about competition.
You know what I realized watching this particular video?
No.
A lot of time when you go for these kids' parties, the jumping or bouncing castles, they're always dirty. And I'm seeing this bouncing castle white as snow.
Yes, I love
white as snow.
I love that.
And that's true though.
Attention
like,
to
details.
Dirty.
And I'm seeing, and it's white as snow. I just saw the little boy in it, and the little boy is wearing white. And the bouncing castle is also white.
It's clean.
It's so clean.
Yeah. You see the mamas there, the aunties having a good life.
It's
Yeah,
so
you see
clean.
everybody's having
It's
fun.
a good life.
Excited.
It's a good vibe.
That's it. Nobody's sitting there all stiff.
Yeah.
You know, and you're comfortable putting your baby on the bouncy castle because you know it's clean.
Yeah.
Because you know kids are going to touch things, put things in their mouth.
Yeah.
So.
Nah, I mean, Think Mahogany. I am reaffirming my promise to you.
The collection of
Even
family and
if
friends.
I have 2 people at my wedding, you are going to arrange their chairs for me.
It will be a
What?
good vibe.
It will be a good vibe. I love that. But you spoke about just one of the challenges, and you spoke about, like, you know, when getting logistics from these people, what exactly you want and all of it. Is that the only major challenge you go through in your line of business? Talk us through some of the challenges.
Well, obviously, mediocre delivery, it's one of them. Of course, cost is another.
Cost of the items?
Cost of the items against the budget, the client's budget. You know, it's like you're always, because you want to deliver a good service, you're always kind of forced to, well, me, I can't talk for others.
Anybody.
But for me, I want to give you a good experience. So for instance, let's go to maybe that white bouncy castle. You need to learn to pay more for quality, for professionalism. If you pay less, be willing to deal with the crap that comes with it. You know, it actually becomes costly. Because if I told you the cost of that white bouncy castle, and you tell me, no, I don't want to spend so amounts on this. Maybe I don't want to spend 10 cedis on it. I'd rather spend 5 cedis. Then be ready to
get the dirty one.
5 cedis one.
The dirty one.
Yeah, that's the constant challenge. People are not ready to pay for what they really want. Forgetting that it's equally as important as going to a doctor or going to, and then that also brings me to another challenge. People don't like to pay for consultation. Now, that I have purposely become even more aggressive on it, because you come to me, you have an idea in your head, I want to have an event. You don't even know how much having an event costs. You don't really even know what you really want. So you're going to come to me,
and you give them everything.
2 hours, 3 hours with me, or maybe I come to you, so my fuel in and out. And then I come, we talk, I download so much wealth of knowledge that has now given you a better perspective of what you really want. And you also say, can I have an invoice? Doing an invoice is not a 2-minute affair. Sometimes it can be up to a week. So I tell people, you have to give me 10 business days turnaround time, because I'm going to contact sub-vendors who are also equally busy. So when I say, okay, for instance, let me say 𝘰𝘍𝑷. He does a lot of my fabrications. Now, 𝘰𝘍𝑷, can I have the cost of maybe doing an arc, like maybe Boss Yosam, Baby Yosam's arc, that entrance? How much is it going to cost me? Before I even do that, I have to go there, measure the space, measure the length, the breadth, the height. How wide do I want it? How do I want to look from different angles? If the children were walking from the back, what should they read at the back? If you're coming from the front, what are you reading in the front? When a photographer needs to take a picture, how far back does he need to stand to be able to take a wide shot? So I am thinking all these dynamics. I'm going there, taking my measurements, going back to 𝘰𝘍𝑷, like, can I have a course? He's busy because everybody wants to use him too. So he doesn't get back to me for another 3-4 days. I'm constantly chasing. Do you know how much phone bills and data bills are now? Crazy. So I'm spending all this money. Then I send you this invoice and they ghost on you. You don't even hear from them. Then you see, because they told you the date of the event and the location or venue or whatever, then you see on social media, they've done the event. Half of the ideas that you've given to them.
Wow,
put on
but that's
there.
unfair.
Wow, that's crazy.
You see how I'm thinking? So
That's
now,
unfair.
before I even move to you or you move to me, you pay me a consultation.
Absolutely.
Let's talk. Before you see the doctor, you pay for a consultation. Before he even prescribes to you.
What is
So come to me, let's talk, I'll prescribe. If you can't afford, go somewhere else.
But still pay my consultation.
Pay my consultation. And then, if you even use some of my ideas, it's fine.
I agree with you.
So people need to get into that culture. Until you pay me my consultation, I'm telling you, and maybe somebody say I'm being too but no, I need to place value on myself.
Absolutely.
And the person who really wants to use you, they'll even ask you first, do you charge a consultation? How much? They'll pay you before even asking for an appointment. So for me, people need to get into, they don't respect creatives. People don't respect. You are happy to pay a nurse at the front to see the doctor. Whether you buy his drugs or not, you're happy because you want a solution. So why can't you give that same amount of respect to a creative that has invested in their craft?
That's interesting. When you create stuff, when you fabricate something that's for a particular event, what then happens to that fabrication?
Well, it can be reused. For instance, let's say Boss Yosam. So Baby Boss Yosam, for instance, his event, I designed it from scratch. So even if you can see, the images are a painting of him. So that's his personal logo. And I'm telling you, I even say that it's a prophecy. It's a baby, and you've already called him boss. From beginning. This boy needs to know that Boss Yosam needs to know that he's destined. He's destined for greatness. You are destined for greatness, and we need to speak such prophetic things into our children's lives.
So this is a customized piece we're seeing there.
Oh yeah.
All those animations are for Boss Baby. Everything.
Yes, he has his own logo. So as you can see the corner, he has his own logo. So this boy knows that, I'm destined for greatness. I'm a boss. I cannot live mediocre, Now, of course, it's personalized to him, so nobody else can use it. So that is it. So
That's it.
That's it. So
Wow.
if you come to me that you want a generic theme, it will definitely cost you less.
Of course.
Because we can use it for
Get some
somebody
balance
else.
flowers.
We can rent it from somebody who has done it
it
before.
already.
Yes.
You know, that's why it's good to have a network as well if you're in the event space who you can fall back on. So yeah, so once it's customized, definitely you pay more. But if it's not, we can reuse it.
We can reuse
Boss
it.
baby.
Boss baby, I like it. But also, before we even talk about your advice to people in your industry and people who want to get into your industry, I want to know how you deal with clients' temperaments. I mean, I'm sure some people come in, they're being all...
It's human nature, though.
So
even your own siblings, you don't get along all the time. But you learn to adapt. You learn to appreciate that everybody is different. I am sure people think I'm difficult. I know. All right, I know.
Are you difficult?
I am difficult because
little difficult?
I have expectations that are not basic, you know, that are not mediocre. I want people to get this one today. Like, stop being basic and mediocre. Let's learn to deliver on excellence. You know, nurture your excellence. That's always my language. And I'll tell you what, people even in the industry tell me that the way vendors approach my event, as Think Mahogany event, is different from the way those same vendors approach other events. Because you know, in my space, there are certain things I will not tolerate. I will laugh until I get to the car park. Once I'm in the car park, my game,
everything changes.
The face changes. I'm here for serious business. So meet me with seriousness. When the event is all done, you'll be shocked that this is the same person. I'll start laughing again. But when it's work time, it's work time. I take
It's
it
time
all
for
serious.
business.
It's time for business.
Give me your assessments of where this industry, you can have a idea of where we began. And what do you see? Where do you see us going as an event industry?
We are going to be doing great exploits. Great exploits. You know, creatives are changing the narrative globally. Globally. You know, before, everybody wants their child to be a lawyer or a doctor or engineer. Me, for instance, I've been very blessed to grow up in a home where whatever we wanted to do was encouraged as long as it's not harmful. It's going to generate some income, and it doesn't disregard our values as people. Like, for instance, my younger brother, at a very young age, he knew he wanted to be an animator. When he wanted to be an animator, we were watching Captain Planet.
Yeah.
So that's how far back. My parents could have been like, what's that? Oh, let me tell you a joke about Captain Planet. My friend said to me, growing up, they were not allowed to watch Captain Planet. And I thought, that's strange. She said, because her father said, Captain Planet. Do you remember the song? He said, he's a hero.
Yeah.
No, Jesus is your hero.
Oh my goodness!
Jesus
It's not Captain Planet.
is obviously the hero.
Captain Planet, he's a hero. Oh, no way.
Wait,
Captain
watch
Planet was banned in the house.
Jesus is your hero.
Jesus is your
The
hero.
hero,
No,
not Captain Planet.
Our parents though.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so he knew there and then he wanted to create things like Captain Planet. And my parents were happy with it. They encouraged him. Today, he's working to become a world-renowned illustrator and animation producer. I mean, he's doing things for Disney and stuff. You know, he's doing storyboards for Disney. He's worked on one-on-one Dalmatians. That dream would not come this far if he didn't get the support. So, and that has applied to me. And really, we need to support the creative industry. If your child says, you know what, look at Stonebwoy. You know, people say you love him so much. Yes, because he invests in the craft. He's surrounded by people that support him. Look at his wife. She's a dentist, but she's always pushing, you know, giving him all her support. For me, it's beautiful to see. I even see their kids singing his songs. You know, it's magic when you support people. It gives them a different boost. And now they feel like they can't let you down. You know, they feel like they can't let you down. So they invest in their craft. So imagine we're all supporting our own like that. You know, I think creatives are doing magic. Film industry. You know, even our concerts, everybody was going wild about global citizen, that, oh, it sets the bar.
Yeah.
But there were Ghanaians that
On
did
board,
it.
yeah. Yeah. And that's true.
That's true. On that note.